Welcome to Books Are Good Medicine, a podcast sponsored by the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community, featuring books and other Native American-focused teaching resources. We are your hosts, Odia Wood-Krieger
and Allison Waka. Our guest today is Marlena Myles, a self-taught Native American artist. Growing up on her traditional Dakota homelands here in the Twin Cities, Marlena enjoys using her artwork to teach Minnesotans of all backgrounds the Indigenous history of this place we call home.
Marlena brings modernity to Indigenous history, languages, and oral traditions while using the land as a teacher. Her professional work includes children's books, augmented reality, murals, fabrics, and animations. She has shown her work in fine art galleries, such as the Minneapolis Institute of Art, the Museum of Russian Art, Red Cloud Heritage Center, and the Minnesota Museum of American Art, just to name a few.
In this episode, we chat about Marlena's passion for Native art, where you can see her public art installations and the free resources that she has created for educators to teach and share Dakota culture. We hope you enjoy. So welcome, Marlena. I think this was one of the priorities when this podcast started, was to get you on as a guest. I've followed you for many, many years and just really excited to have you on. And if you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. I love all the work that you do, Allison and Odia as well. But my name's Marlena Myles. I'm from the Spirit Lake Dakota Nation in North Dakota. I live in St. Paul. I grew up in South Minneapolis at Little Earth, and I attended Four Winds. But outside of that area, I never really saw much that showed that Minnesota was Dakota homeland. So as an adult, I use my abilities to try to change that.
I think you have. So I moved here 10 years ago and met you a couple years after that when I started working at the library. And I remember you coming in and you were doing artwork for library communications to use. And it was so beautiful. It's still being used today. And it was something that I think libraries really never thought of before, in integrating artwork and designs into their flyers and so forth. And it just made me feel really good about the work that was being done there. And I felt that you were such a forward thinker. You think of things that and spaces that just really innovative. And so I just really appreciate you and your work, especially for Natives as a whole, but especially Minnesota. How did you get started into the world of art?
Yeah, well, I grew up always doing art. My mom, my aunts, my grandmas, they all were artists, all the women. So it was pretty normal just to come home and work on art with my sister. And my mom, she would sell beadwork and things like that. So I saw how art could be a career, you know. I didn't grow up thinking, oh, artists are starving artists. That wasn't a mindset I had.
Yeah.
But she tried to teach me beadwork, and I couldn't even tie two knots, you know? And so she was like, I see you on the computer, so maybe you should just that could be your tool, you know.
Yeah.
Not everybody needs to do traditional mediums, I guess. So I was on the computer coding, making things with Photoshop, and before it was socially acceptable to sit on a computer all day, and I was dial-up and everything. But
oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I got started on the computer doing digital art probably before most people even had a home computer, because I remember even when we go up to the reservation in the summer, we'd bring the big modem and everything and the trunk up there. And then my cousins, all their little friends would come over because they're they have a computer at their house, you know, so they'd come over and we'd play some of the computer games.
Self-taught,
yeah. So everything that I've learned from the YouTube University. Because if I went to college, by the time you graduate, with the way new programs and stuff come out, it's already outdated information anyway. So you kind of have to keep being sort of a self-taught person if you're going into digital art. But I had a day job after I graduated high school that was in the hospitality business, and I didn't really like it, but I learned to anticipate people's needs and observe behaviors, and that has helped me as an artist, like thinking about resources that teachers need, like how can I think of things they might need. And I don't want to go to school and study how to write curriculum because that sounds kind of boring to me, but I always take in like what they need and try to adapt it. My first day job was my first job after I quit and decided to become a full-time artist was at All My Relations Gallery as like a gallery attendant. And so I got paid to learn, I guess, from when Native artists would come in, you know, I'd listen and ask them questions about the career and like, you know, how their career gets started. So I learned from other artists there, and I got to start working with more the Native community and sitting in a coffee shop and hearing like basically everything that's going on all the time.
Yeah.
So that got me like way more excited about being sort of like a public artist than I could ever have thought of. Just drawing at home, like I never thought about how art can like uplift a community until I started learning about and listening to what all the doers in the community are doing at the coffee shop. So I always say if you need something done, just go to that coffee shop and ask around, you know, if you'll make connections.
Power grounds,
yeah.
Just sit there for, you know, a couple hours and you have all your answers. And,
and then more than what you asked.
Probably, yeah.
And then you were at MIA for a while, the Minneapolis Institute of Art.
Yeah, so I quit All My Relations after I got the First People's Fund Fellowship because I just felt like I was ready to go to my next step. And then someone else who was trying to enter in the art world, you know, they could have that role to get going themselves. And then I applied for the fellowship. It said you needed like a bachelor's degree and stuff. And I'm like, well, I've been Native my whole life. That's like a bachelor's degree.
Right.
Equivalent, you know?
And a master's.
Yeah, exactly.
PhD.
Exactly. So I'm like, if like a white guy can just overachieve without any sort of experience, I'll just apply too. And I went in and I just like made jokes and stuff the whole interview and like passed out art to people. And then they enjoyed me so much, I got the job. So I worked as a fellow there. And I think it was supposed to be like 6 months or something, but they kept extending it because just like wanted me around all the time. But it was a really fun experience too. I got to learn about museum collections from Jill, the lady who was in charge of the Native collection. And then I wrote a series of essays on their resources there because they noticed that teachers don't always feel comfortable teaching about Native art. So they wanted to create this resource guide that had interviews with Native artists in the community, had the essays that I wrote, and then graded art activities that bring in Native teachings without appropriation. Because sometimes, you know, the Native crafts are like make a moccasin or make a bandolier bag, and that's not really appropriate, you know, to be teaching our art as just crafts. And so what I worked on was taking the knowledge that's like embedded in some of these artworks and then turned it into an art activity, or other artists did that so that it's more appropriate and contemporary teachings. And then when I created the essays, I connected older pieces that might be like 2,000 years old with like a modern piece, so people can see that this art is like living still with the people, like this knowledge is passed down. And even if something looks very contemporary, very abstract, it's still deeply connected with our stories. And also, you know, like the Western art world, it's mostly white male artists, but in the Native art world, it's actually almost all females who have made the art, unless it's like a weapon or like maybe something a male would use. Most of the art is actually made by women too. So it's like, it's always fun to point that out to people that women are the creators in so many different ways.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Hearts of Our People. Like you mentioned, Jill from MIA, who's no longer there, but that exhibit, Terry Greaves put that together. Man, that was such
That was a beautiful,
It was, it's 2019 before the bottom fell out kind of thing. It was like this amazing, impassioned exhibit, and it was really, really beautiful, and reinforced all the things you said about women being makers and passing those teachings on. And I hope they do another. I hope something like that comes again because we need it.
Oh, we'll see. Yeah, we definitely need it. Right now, you have a show, right? Though at All My Relations.
I'm in a show.
Oh, you're in the show. Okay.
Yeah, so they have the creation story of the Cheteshakumin, which is the Dakota-Lakota nations, and it was started by Keith Braveheart, who's Oglala Lakota, and Okta Lakota, the Art Cultural Center. They bought the 8 pieces, and he wanted them to expand that because he didn't think his 8 paintings of the spirits are the only versions they should have, that there's more than just his voice. So he helped co-create this bigger show, and he brought in different artists, and we had sort of cohorts. So we talked with other artists, and some of those artists have gotten into the groove of just art market mode. So they're just thinking about what buyers want to make. They're not actually thinking about cultural pieces that can pass down knowledge throughout the generations. Like, that's not their forethought. Like, it's in their pieces, but it's not like their intention. So he was able to work with some of those artists too, to let them be that kind of artist again too, and not have to worry about a market, you know.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, it's a fun show. I'm doing a tour, I think July 10th. And so I'll go through like very thoroughly through it, and people can learn about the different stories related to the different spirits and my own personal experiences with them.
One of the things that continues to surprise me about you, and I don't mean like, oh, surprise, but like, I guess I marvel at is how you see things or how you come up with things that people need that no one has ever thought about. Like, every time I see something cool, I was like, wow. And then I see that you've created it. So augmented reality at the Arboretum, the bus, riverboat tours, like your work has gone in all of these different ways and outside of what people would probably consider quote unquote art, which is really cool. Like, I've taken your fabric and I've gifted it to people when I was in Hawaii, and like, your message goes into all these different places. And I don't really have a question other than I'm marveling at how you think about art in a way that I don't see other people thinking about it, whether it's utility or, you know, your love of the land, right? Like, you have this education piece, this beauty piece, but also this unwavering commitment to sharing that mission and that message with everyone, which is pretty incredible.
It really is. We're really lucky to have you here. And the resources that you do, all for free on your website. And we have to talk about the map, the beautiful map.
Which is in this book. And for people listening, this quote book is the Paul Bunyan invention of an American legend, which I freaking love and recommend to all sorts of people. And I was so jazzed to see your map in the back.
Yeah.
And then it also talks about your plants, some of the plant teachings that you've done.
Yeah.
How did this book come to be?
Yeah, like Francoise, she's the editor at the New Yorker, I believe, like one of the art editors there. And she reached out. And then I saw the email was about Paul Bunyan. And I'm like, oh, please, don't these people know? Don't these people know? But then I thought, oh, they do know. I was very surprised because normally I get these kind of emails from people with good intentions.
Right.
I have to educate them. Yeah. So I was very surprised that for once someone's already is on their work. Yeah. And so she reached out and just wanted to add a Native perspective to it. And she liked the maps. Then I had the plant illustrations too. And then I mentioned like the work that Sean Sherman's doing, and they already had interviewed them for their magazine. So they had access to his quotes and stuff too that she could include in there, because I always want to connect like plant medicine or food sovereignty with someone that's doing it too, so they can see that my coloring pages share this knowledge, but here's a place where you can go and actually taste these foods too. So it's just a way to expand too with all the work that Native people are doing in the community. But yeah, it was a good book. I got to go out to a few like children's education conferences, and it's kind of crazy to see how teachers come together to get the books and how those spread out and how that whole process works. So it's been like a fun learning experience with that book, because they just invited me out and brought me into places that I wouldn't have been able to go to on my own and connect with teachers. And there's like other Native authors there too. So it was nice to meet some of the people that I just see their names on the books.
Yeah. At what point did you think about creating your own publishing company?
Yeah, so I worked illustrating a few books like that Thanku Poems of Gratitude with Lerner, and that was like my first time signing a contract. So it was like this really cool moment to get this super thick contract signed and just be like, I have a book deal or something.
Yeah.
And so that was a great experience. Then I worked with other publishing companies to illustrate for them, and it wasn't like the same experience when I didn't have full freedom over the whole book pretty much. That Indian No More book, there's a lot of issues with that because the author, she has passed on too. So there's other people in control of her book. And, the people who were asking me to illustrate, they were trying to include other tribes that weren't her tribe's art in it. Cause that, like the Northwest Coast, they think of totem poles. But I'm like, well, that tribe didn't actually do totem poles. They did basket weaving and things like that. And so it was like trying to get them to stop with the stereotypes.
Being more accurate. Yeah.
I always joke that I always have to help publishers remove totem poles from their Southwest stories. Everybody loves to toss a totem pole into any book.
Or a dream catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, is like people have consulted with me on like there's this book about 10 women or something, and they had Zakala Shaw in it. And she's from Yankton, South Dakota. She did work like in pipestone and things like that. And the illustration they drew for her was like the Southwest with cactus and like old skulls on the ground. And I'm like, she's from South Dakota. Like, that's not what South Dakota looks like. And then the regalia they drew, they just like made up designs. And I'm like, there's images of her with her regalia on. You could just draw that in cartoon form. Like, you don't have to make up stuff. So there's like a lot I had to critique on just like one illustration page. Like, there was so much. And I've worked with other publishing companies too that, they'll want like a whole book illustrated in a month and offer $1,000 or something.
Oh my goodness.
And they're like big publishing companies that I know that's not what they're offering other artists. They just think that Native people are poor on the reservation and that you'll just take this scrap or something,
And in a month?
Yeah, like crazy amounts of like work in a small amount of time they'll ask. Like, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I would even ask this of somebody.
And then ask you to sign over all your work.
Right, yeah.
So you lose all rights to it.
Yeah, or they send me a manuscript about Dakota people, and it's not even finished, and they're still calling us Sioux and everything in it. And, I was like, you got to change this. And it's from like a historical society, so they should know like not to use these outdated terms. And they're like, oh yeah, the editor is still going through, and a lot might change in the book still. So, but that's all right. We want you just to illustrate 9 things, and we'll just put them in there throughout. But I'm like, I don't want my name attached to a book when you haven't even sent me the final version of what the manuscript's going to be, because then people are going to think I approved of stuff, So these like bad experiences just made me realize, I can do book design myself, because I worked with Lower Sioux and illustrated a book and compiled it and helped them get it printed. So like I went through that whole process with them, so I can just make my own publishing company. And, I don't think you really go into the book business to make a ton of money. Like, so it's all right to just do it myself. Because I get bigger commissions from murals and stuff that support like my life as an artist, so I can have time to work on these other projects. So that's when I started Wiu'unkipi, which means we're capable. And it was fun trying to think of a name, because like whenever you say it, you're saying I'm capable of achievement, we're capable of winning. It's like the mindset behind it. That's why, when I bring in people and combine their talents together, I feel like that's, as Dakota people, that's how we find our strength, is when we work together versus alone. And so I had Lakota authors, and I connected them with illustrators, like my sister. She's a great illustrator, so I had her illustrate Far from the Forest, and then Traci Halfus Lakota. And so my sister hand drew all of these with markers and paints and
butterflies and the cute frog.
Yeah, and like it's really cool at markets, because like little girls be like, "Mommy, that's me on the cover," So it's really nice, I think, that kids see themselves represented too in the art. And she does it in an anime style, so then that's a style a lot of young people like. Because parents would be like, "Oh, my kids like to draw that style," so they'll buy it for them.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
What else do you have there?
So this is another coloring book I made, and this one's more of like printed together. And my friend Tara, or Tanagira Towin, Blue Hummingbird Woman, she wrote it. And my friend Dawi, he translated it all into Dakota. And then I illustrated it. And so it's like our combined talents. And inside of it, the Dakota is first, and then the English is in lighter text.
There you go. Yeah.
And then the website has the audio pronunciation. And then Dawi, the overachiever, he wrote out all the words too. So people could, if they wanted to, they can go through word by word and get the literal translations too.
Oh, I love that.
Is that available on your website as well?
Yep, and it's just like $5. So something accessible. And that's basically just paying for the amount of time it took me to put it together, since I like to print those ones out myself. And then we have a brand new book coming out. I just sent it to the printers, and they sent this over late last week, but it's called Prairie Bones by Robert Harold Bordeaux. And then it's illustrated by Thomasina Topbear.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I just saw Thomasina's mural that she's doing at Division of Indian Work.
Yep. So it's been cool to have her illustrations. So this is the unbounded copy. So when they send it to you, they send you a printed proof and you approve of it or any changes. But it has her illustrations throughout, but also Robert's poetry, and his poems are really cool. He wrote Healing Through Connection with Lakota Kin Language and Culture. So it's about his own reconnection journey with the culture and like how it's helped heal him, or, like help him let go of things in his life. So I'm really excited for that book to come out and start promoting it. And it should come out June 27th.
Oh, coming up.
Is he local?
He lives in South Dakota.
Okay.
So it was kind of hard to find Dakota authors. So there was a lot more Dakota people that we wrote that I had send in their manuscripts, and then local artists here that I know, so I could connect them together. Mm-hmm. But Tara Tanagida told when she's here in St. Paul, she has Blue Hummingbird Shop. So she has other books she's written too, so you can always check out her work there.
She has she had some with black bears and blueberries, I think. So that's how I initially met her. And she has her own store, and then is she opening another one as well? I forget.
She opened one, a second one at the Indigenous Roots, the Eagle and Condor Center.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm working with her for 2 more books. So another one my sister's illustrating called Paint My Dakota Red. That one will come out early next year.
Oh, wow.
And then I have an idea for like a native fashion one that I'm going to have her write, because I did a fashion show at Shakopee, and then she was one of the models, and I just had this idea of like, since we both know what that feels like now, to like make a native fashion children's book. So I don't want to give out all the cool ideas for it, but it's
very exciting.
Yeah, and then I found a Dakota illustrator. She does fashion illustrations, so I thought it'd be cool to work with her to illustrate it too.
I love it.
Fun, yes. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
And where would be your website?
You can just look up Marlena Myles on Google or type it in. It's my website. It's Marlena Myles, and .es is for ES. It's like the Spanish domain, so I could get just my name and bar. But you could just
I always wondered about that. And then your publishing company is on there as well?
Yeah, you can find the links there.
And there's, under resources, you have the maps that people can download if they just want to, 8.5 by 11, but you can purchase larger versions.
Yeah.
And you have Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then you have like Red Wing area? Are you working on any others?
We'll have the Minnesota River Valley as well. And then I'm working on like North and South Dakota too. Sort of the eastern part, the Sisseton land that is our land base. I'm working on that one. And then there's a few park systems that want them specifically about their park region, like Three Rivers.
Nice.
And then Hennepin County Library and Dakota County Library are putting them all in their libraries too.
I visit different libraries, and I'm like, oh, Marlena's map is here. And then I take a picture, and it's really neat to go somewhere, and it makes me feel really good that my kiddos can go somewhere and now they know your horse. Like they'll see your horse places and your button.
And you designed Band-Aids too, didn't you?
That was like during COVID or something.
Yeah, like
COVID was
like
a
it's
weird
amazing
time.
to me, like all of the places, because I was thinking like, yes, the horses were on Band-Aids too.
Yeah, it's just, and it's really, it got my niece thinking more about, she's really into horses, but she was wondering like what would be the different versions of different tribes drawing horses. Like, oh, why are the hooves pointed? And like, so it even expanded her thinking of like beyond. And it's just really neat because it even, I've thought about it like with stars, like how different tribes drew stars, like Pawnee did this way, Navajo did this way. And it's really cool on how your art expands people thinking about other art. And you're just kind of like this, tree or, vine of like, it's just really, really awesome. And I promote you everywhere I go. And just really thankful for you showcasing how I think I don't know if revitalizing is the word, but how we were always artists and writers and storytellers, and you're putting that on a platform that we've never been recognized before. So kudos to you. Thank you so much for doing all the work that you're doing.
Yeah. Glad someone appreciates it. I don't know.
More than you know.
Yes.
Well, that's
more
the
than
thing.
you
It's
know.
like people will come up and say all this stuff, and I'm like, well, I had no idea because I'm just in my bubble. Working, I think, so
With your cat staying up late and your
yeah.
murals and
Just so much. I call myself in my head, like I grew up in the 90s with like computer viruses. So I'm like the Marlena virus. I'm like, what new place can I infect with Dakota knowledge? So
that's awesome.
It's like hacking people's brains by making it pretty, you know? So like I read a lot of Russian literature, and like Dostoevsky, he always says like beauty will save the world. And I used to think about that quote and kind of criticize it in my head. But I thought, well, if you make something beautiful, it's actually hard for people to destroy it. So if you make like this knowledge, like the Dakota-land-map, in a beautiful way, people are more accepting to it versus if I just said this is Dakota land without art to it. I think art helps break down people's barriers and let them learn new knowledge. And working with young people, like I did Art a Whirl and I had my Dakota-land-map out. And this little non-native boy, he sees it and he's like, oh, that's in my 5th grade geography class. And then he stood there for like 20 minutes just like naming his favorite places in Dakota. So,
wow.
I think my ancestors would be pretty happy to see, see people excited to learn the original names for the places here in the Twin Cities. And I even have high school students who appreciate the work that their teachers are doing, because the teachers will bring them out to these sacred sites and use this map. And they've even, like, last day of school, they've ordered a map. And I'm like, oh, you can just have it for free, because they're gifting it to their teacher and they want me to sign it. So they'll come even before school. I have to get up, like, at 7, and sign this map and give it to them so that they can deliver it to the teacher as, like, a gift, you know? So
that's amazing.
That really is.
So I see a lot of, students appreciating what their teachers are doing. So I think I hear more feedback from, like, the students, like, I made a documentary called Realms of Resilience, and it's about my augmented reality as well as like the knowledge that Native people place in the land. Like we didn't need a written language because the whole world around us has this like levels of knowledge put in there. And that documentary kind of showcases that, and it was shown out in New York to a group of kids, and they wrote in questions like, when did you know that your art could save the world Dakota style,
Aww.
So the kids always have like these great questions, and the teachers tell me the kids usually fidget and do this and that during like movie time. So, but all of them would sit and listen. So, it's nice to hear that feedback. So like I said, I usually get feedback from maybe the students more than I do from the teachers. So it's nice to see and hear, what's going out in the world. And like the Franklin Library, like they were the first one to have the Dakota-land-map put in there. And then from there, now it's in all of the different libraries. So I always think of Franklin as like the nucleus of all this change, And that was the library I went to as a kid. Like before I lived at Little Earth, I lived a block behind that library. And so me and my sister would go and check out 50 books at a time because my dad would let us. Yeah, on our little wagon. My mom would get so mad because we lived literally a block away. It's like you do not need to get 50 books at once. But we never lost a book or anything like that. But, reading, really opened my eyes to all this like different culture around the world. So I think, if I didn't have that library and didn't have access, and my parents, if they didn't care about books, then I wouldn't be the person who I am today, definitely, I don't know, maybe people don't think big deals about libraries, but like for me, I wouldn't be doing the work I'm doing today without the library, especially Franklin Library.
Oh, we need to have that quote.
Definitely.
In the library.
I can put my plaque up.
Right, totally need that. Oh my goodness. Franklin, it's right in the heart of the American Indian community there on Franklin Avenue, and it has my heart. I worked there for many years and brought you and I together, and just so many different folks on the Ave, and it's just really good to hear that story, Marlena. Thank you for sharing that. Libraries definitely can help change the world, and I think that's what this podcast is about too, like shifting the narrative and showing that schools and libraries can support and include the Native voice.
Yeah.
So,
and I think if you want to change like the world, you start with the kids. Like when I was a kid, they started to show recycling in school.
Oh, sure. Yep.
And then you'd go home and you'd be like, Mom, you can't throw that away. You have to recycle it. And parents don't want to look bad in front of their kids. So they'll listen to the kids. Instead of like the government saying, oh, you can't do this, you have to do this, people don't want to hear that. But if their kids are sharing this knowledge or asking these questions, their parents are more responsive. So I always think too that, you can help change parents who may have already just checked out of learning new things from their kids. So their kids bring home something like this, and then their parents have to work on them with it or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it helps hack the parents' minds.
There you go. I love it. We're hacking the community.
Yeah. Like I said, I grew up in a time period where like people used to get viruses and just opening email.
Yeah.
I mean, people still do that.
Yeah.
But it was just a big thing back then. It was like computer viruses, and everybody's computer had like issues because of ads and stuff.
So you talked about just briefly about Minneapolis Institute of Art and appropriation and teachers. And that makes me think about the beautiful fabrics you've designed and how people can purchase products and things like that. And I don't want this to sound like a sales pitch, like people can go and find that. But I'm curious, like, what you say to people who want to buy Native-made things, who are worried about appropriation, and what are your recommendations for people who want to support Native artists and makers?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of fashion designers making contemporary pieces that are appropriate to buy. Like, I don't think you should buy like a jingle dress regalia and just like think that's fine for you to wear if you're not Native. You can buy it as like a historical piece or museum piece, but it shouldn't be like for you to wear it without knowing the meaning. But there's lots of contemporary pieces. And for me, when I started out as an artist, I was super shy. I couldn't ever just go up and talk to anyone. I still really can't. But I just wear loud outfits and people come up to me and that breaks the ice. So fashion has always been an icebreaker. Because once someone talks to me, then I can talk. But I can't just like walk up and just be like, oh, hey, how are you? What's your name? And like introduce myself. I'm like, I can't even just do that. So fashion for me has like really helped me as an artist, just connect with people. Yep. And when I did a fashion show at Shakopee, they invited me out. I never made a fashion show, but I'm always willing to get paid to learn and like fail on the job or succeed. It doesn't,
it's a win-win, really.
Yeah, I got paid at the end of the day. But I brought in my friends, like other people brought in big models and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if I can have anything to talk about with these people, but I'd rather just hang out with my friends all day as my models. And it was a really cool experience because each of the people, my friends, were all going through different things in their life, and that having that stage and gave them either a break from things going on outside of their control, or some of them had like anxiety, and it gave them that moment to like really challenge themselves. Like, no, I'm going to like do this time. And then one of the models is a young girl, and she's trans, and she's like transitioning from girl to teenager, and her body's like not reflecting her mental like how she sees herself. And so, her identity. But, her to be out there wearing a dress and being, presented and showcased, or her parents, her grandma, everyone was there, and like they were all crying because they were so like proud of it, like that moment. And for me, I felt like fashion can even affirm people's identities and give them empowerment, because when she's at school, some of the kids tease her and things like that. So she got this moment of being really highlighted, and making her outfit was like my favorite part, because I feel like I just have adult kid fashion. So like designing for a kid, it was like a really fun, like I wish I could have dressed like this when I was a kid, Yeah, fashion, I think, it's just lets people really be empowered in ways, and people just might think that, oh, it's just a loud outfit or it's just native fabrics. But like, I didn't see a lot of people using fabrics that showcased our culture. And so I just started researching sites that you can make fabric and people can buy it without me needing to have $100,000 to like make a bunch of fabric all at once. And Spoonflower, you can print on demand, and they do it in a good way that's not polluting the water, and it's not producing excessive fabric waste. So I started that, and they started to like highlight the patterns and things I made. And I feel like that opened it up to a lot more people to start using their resources. And they started to make blogs on like top 10 like native fabric makers. And it was just like me and maybe 2 other people on there, because I had looked to see what other native designers, and there weren't any really, besides a couple. And now there's lots of people doing it, because we make regalia, we make fashion, and so our patterns too should also reflect that. So I think it's been really fun to see how big native fashion has gotten, and how positive it is. Like even the other models there, they were all super nice and happy. And when I read about the fashion world from like, I don't know, the white America, it sounds pretty scary, but from the native ones, I just saw so much positivity amongst the designers. Like some of them are like the biggest names, and they're super like friendly and like nice still. So that's what it kind of made me want to do like this children's book too about native fashion. Yeah. Just because it's like I saw the empowerment and I saw the positivity myself, and it actually is creating a lot of people to become like positive role models for their communities. Yeah, and I think you feel proud too when you buy from a local designer versus mass-produced stuff. Right. And I think we're sort of seeing like with tariffs and stuff, and we can no longer get things so fast and cheap. And now you're thinking more about, well, if I have to spend some amount of money, why don't I just buy from a local person, and that's going towards their livelihood, going directly towards them, and not some billionaire out there or something. Yeah. So, I don't want to say tariffs are good or disruption of the society is good, but I can see that some people, it's called making them be more thoughtful with how they're going to spend their money now.
Well, Marlena, I wish that we could talk with you all afternoon.
Yeah. I've learned so much.
Right? And I guess I've always known that, you're this change maker and role model, but just being in your space, in your orbit, just for, a little bit has shown me even how much more I need to know about you and the amazing work that you do and your care for community, also your care for children and storytelling and just doing things in a good way. And so just really grateful that you made your way through the skyway to find us here. Takes an intrepid person to actually find us here. And I cannot wait. We didn't even talk about what's next for you, because I can't even fathom how many projects you must have on the go. But
people can just follow me online to see like the celebration events, and they can check out my augmented reality installations at Wakan TV or the Capone Art Park in Egan, or the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum in Chanhassen or Chaska. I feel like they're on the border. and then I have one coming at the Bell Museum and in Franconia Sculpture Park too this fall. So,
and you have riverboats too.
Yeah, the riverboat tours. I think we opened 2 more spots for the fall, or they're going to be open. So they sell out super fast.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And then I'm doing an artist in residency in Pipestone at the end of August. So
amazing.
that'll be fun
Yeah.
to spend time out there more than just like a day trip. But yeah, people can just check out my website or watch my documentary too if they're not in Minnesota and they can't access these places so easily. The documentary like introduces them to augmented reality.
And you're on
Very cool.
Instagram and Facebook and
Right.
all the things.
Yeah, just chronically online. If I don't, though, I don't have like a business. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Very
I
true.
don't want to be on there all the time. I want to
Yeah.
be like off adventuring in the skyways, you know, urbexing in the abandoned St. Paul skyways, I guess. No. But no, it's it keeps me out of trouble. I think the more I work on art, the less time I have for trouble. So.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thank you so much, Marlena.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Books Are Good Medicine. Subscribe to our channel on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can also visit our website, booksaregoodmedicine.com, to find episodes and resources or to send us a comment. This podcast is sponsored by the Shakopee Metawakan Sioux community and produced by Goff Public. Our theme music is Stomp Dance by Blue Dog. The opinions expressed on the Books Are Good Medicine podcast by its co-hosts and guests are their own in their personal capacities and do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization with whom they are affiliated or of the podcast sponsor.